Here we go. All right, there we go. Okay, that's the meeting. We're done. Okay, roll call. And Amanda, you thought you were nervous? See? Don't have to worry about it. Okay, roll call, please.
We are mostly here. Mr. Howe had sent his regards that he may be a little late, but otherwise we are all here.
Okay. So next item is approval of the agenda. I'd like to add a final item for the night, item 9G. It's a request to put a mural on the old fire station #1 in Veterans Park. And that's the only thing I've got to add. So do I want to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I would move to approve the agenda as amended.
Support, Sylvia.
Moved and supported. Vote, please.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right. The next item is a consent agenda approval. Before we get going on that, there's a couple of items in there one item I'd like to bring forward. It's item G. Tonight in the consent agenda approval are two new board members for the HDDA. One is Taylor DeHaan, and she's the owner of the Sniffers, one of the owners of the Sniffer Station. And the other one is Andy West from Vandry Self Storage. Andy's here tonight, and want to tell you that we thank you for being a part of the DDA. It's a good opportunity to be stand up for the businesses in the district and be a part to help make a good move there. So, other than that, that's the only thing I have to discuss in that. So, somebody want to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the
Support.
Consent agenda.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote, please.
Ms. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, next item, announcements. Highland Township offices will be closed on Friday, March 29th in observance of Good Friday. You'll probably wear your bathing suit that day if it keeps up the way it is. Let's hope. Next item is Oakland County Treasurer's Office is in the final stretch of their foreclosure prevention efforts. Tax foreclosure deadline for the 2021 or prior year taxes is on April 1st, 2024. If these taxes aren't paid off by April 1st or any interested party hasn't entered into a prepayment schedule with the Treasurer's Office by then, the property will be up for foreclosure. And number 7 is public comment. Anybody have a public comment? Same difference.
Okay. I was just going to thank everyone for your support for the election that we held last Tuesday. I couldn't do it without you all. And I couldn't do it without my staff who worked an amazing number of hours to get us through the 9 days of early voting. And, I just owe them all a debt of gratitude.
It's my understanding they all worked for free the whole time too. That's dedication. So, I think you deserve a round of applause, Ken.
Wow. Everybody.
The whole voting thing it used to be something that you could anticipate a couple times a year, and it's just this is going to be the most grueling voting for anybody ever. And Tammy, thanks for not falling down and passing out or quitting.
Yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Any other public comment? Judy?
I just wanted to announce that I'm not going to run this time for the next 4 years. And I want to talk about how grateful I am for my time on the board. And I hope that people that are passionate for their township will come forward and make a difference, because there is nothing more rewarding than doing this. So thank you for
Wow.
for your
She's gonna make,
support.
make us all
and,
cry here.
We don't accept your resignation. I'm sorry.
Yep, too bad.
People used to ask me, are you glad you did this because you're crazy because you did this? And I used to say, have you ever been in a place where you knew that that's right where you belonged? When I was treasurer, I was right where I belonged. And as far as trustee for the last 4 years, I feel the same way. So I hope that somebody that comes forward will feel the same way and give as much to Highland Township as I feel like we all have. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Judy. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. I mean, that's 12 years on the board, right? 12 on the board. Wow. That's like historical. Not hysterical, but historical. All right. Thanks, Peter. Okay, we'll move on to the next item.
Is that
And-
public comment?
Yeah,
And so we're done.
we're done. Public comment. I got all these tears in my eyes and now I can't read anything. Seriously. So the next item is ordinance officer assistant position. So let me pull that up so I can be on top of things here. So Sean Bell, who has been our combo ordinance officer and fire marshal for at least 10 years, maybe 8, 10 years. Hard to tell. I can't, it's been a while.
It's more like 6.
6, 7, whatever. Anyways, he's been running dual duty for quite some time and it really is pretty difficult to handle both jobs. And he has requested an assistant. And so we're submitting to the board a recommendation and to hire that assistant. And we did our interviews and put out the the ads in all the right places. And well, I'm pretty sure we lucked out. So I'd like to make the recommendation, this is a motion, to hire Amanda McClear as the ordinance officer assistant. And the position will be at the Township Fire Hall, number 1. But her duties are to cover our ordinance component of the operation and give Sean the backup and assistance and daily help that he needs. The starting pay will be $21.05 per hour, not to exceed 29 hours per week. Effective start date will be March 11th, 2024.
Support.
Okay, any discussion on that? Mr. Salvia?
You asked me if I have any discussion.
Yeah, do you
I'm excited.
recognize this individual?
I'm excited that I know that person and I think that would be a very wonderful addition that we can enforce our ordinances with power and authority
There
or
you
something
go.
like that.
So Amanda, would you like to stand up, please? I'd like to introduce you to the board. So this is Amanda McClear, and she informed me tonight that she knew Joe and she was kind of wondered what he would say to
Don't tell them all my jokes, okay?
her. I told her not to be nervous, and so now here I am making her nervous, so. Hey, Amanda,
Great addition.
1 more minute here, so stand at attention and vote, please. Here we go. It's like a,
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes?
Mrs. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Ms. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Emily, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you for being a part of our new part of our team, and we'll be looking forward to hopefully many years with you, as long as you want to be here. All right, well, thanks for coming tonight too. then.
Amanda, if you need anything, come see us. We'll protect you from Sean.
You're welcome. Thanks again for being a new employee. Okay, the next item is I'm not brain dead, just partially here. I'm requesting the approval of purchase of a used 2020 Dodge Ram 2500 pickup truck from Zott Dodge. The purpose of the vehicle is that we have these tractors and equipment that we need to use for maintenance in the parks and the cemeteries and around the township. And the only way we can get the tractor to where it needs to go is to drive it, which is not the most efficient or safe way to do it. So we've purchased a trailer and now we need a truck to pull it besides my truck. So I found one that's in superb condition at Zott. The price is $35,799. It's got 66,590 miles on it. And it was actually under what I expected to pay for in the 150,000 we put aside for multiple vehicles in the budget. So that's a motion.
Support Sylvia. Support Sylvia.
Okay, any discussion?
So in the purchasing policy, we have to go out for bid. Sealed competitive bids are required for purchases 25,000 or more per item. It is budgeted, so we don't have to change the budget, but you might have to have a motion for that first to waive the purchasing policy.
Thank you. So let's do that motion first. I'm going to rescind the motion. Huh?
To waive,
Adding it to the motion?
the first motion should be waive the purchasing policy.
But I made the motion already, so I have to rescind it.
Oh,
See, that's Robert's rules I was talking about earlier. So. Is there any reason we can't add them together?
No,
add them together.
All right, you want to add that to the motion? I'll add the waiving the purchase policy. Joe, you want to, is that acceptable?
The motion would be to request permission to purchase this vehicle.
And waive the
and waive the
purchase
related.
policy.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Got it?
Yep.
I make that motion.
Your second.
Second. Oh, you made it. Okay.
Yep.
I second that motion. Accept.
Okay. Any further discussion on that?
I think that's a really good price for a 2020 Dodge Ram. They are so high right now that that's a very good price, in my opinion.
All right.
can
Any
I
other?
ask the reason for waiving the purchasing policy?
Is because it's pretty hard to put out requests for quotes on a one-of-a-kind vehicle. In other words, there's that vehicle is that price at that place, and you'd have to go around and find
Right.
somebody that could supply you with exactly the same.
So when you go out for bids, you don't have to find them. They're supposed to find you.
Well, I have a suggestion that we change the purchasing policy to exclude used vehicles. They would have to still fall, if it's over 5,000 to 15, us three would have to approve it. And if it's not in the budget, the board would still have to approve it. But used vehicles are the hardest thing to bid for and get the best deal. And we found this when we bought our 2 white trucks. The last time, it was very hard. So I would suggest we probably amend the purchasing agreement.
Okay, well, in any event. No further dis-
I have a hard time with, not following the purchasing policy. And so I'll be voting no, but
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Vote, please.
all right. Mr. Salvia,
Sylvia, yes?
Mrs. Lewis,
Louis, yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes no. Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay. The next item is WODA lease agreement. And this is pretty much. Did you get to look at that, Lisa? Yeah.
It can be extended for. It can be automatically extended for one position 2 years.
Right, so it'd be, right, yep. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the lease agreement between Charter Township, Highland, and Western Oakland Transportation Authority.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Any questions? Discussion?
Are you still on the board of WODA?
Mhm.
So is it, what's the word I'm looking for?
Conflict of interest?
Yes.
I don't believe so.
I mean, I never
I'm
even
not-
thought
I'm not
about it until
gaining
you
it.
made the motion, not that it's that big of a deal, but
I'm not gaining anything from it, so
that makes sense. Okay.
hopefully they find another home sometimes. Okay, vote please.
Let's see. Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Louis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes. All right. Motion passes. So next item is fire department ambulance purchase. Nick, you want to put that microphone up to your snoot there?
Definitely.
What are you doing?
I don't want to do anything. It's back behind there or not, every time I move the microphone, it makes noise.
Closer.
A little better, hopefully.
Okay,
But yeah, in front of you guys is the request to purchase ambulances. With COVID, still things are not caught up with ambulances at all. Same thing with fire trucks and a lot of fire equipment. Currently, we're looking at least 3 years out to get an ambulance. So if we order one today, we're looking at least 3 years before we'll get it. We do have an opportunity if nobody else can compete with it, that we can get a hold of one that was already ordered a year and a half ago by Thornapple Township. They had to cancel because they needed to move something quicker. We actually found a gas chassis which will match. It almost matches our 211 and 213 exactly. We can get that one in a year and a half, and then I'd like to actually just order our next 2 rounds of them, or get authorization to order the next 2 rounds of them. So one would be in 3 years, and then wait a year and order one for a 4th year. So that's what I'm asking permission for, is to put out that RFP to have bids come in. 4 different 4 ambulances per our specs. And if everything goes well, we can get one in a year and a half. Then we'd have another one in 3 years, and then another one in 4 years from now.
So your request is just to put out an RFP.
To be able to put out the RFP, the authorization to purchase, basically to sign the purchasing, or have Rick sign the purchasing, your authorization to order them once that RFP comes back in. There might be some money down when it comes to ordering them.
Right.
I believe some of them require a certain percentage down, but you don't have to pay everything until the full amount until.
And you have
ambulance comes in.
budgeted for these 3 ambulances?
We have the money in the capital improvement funds. Basically, I haven't ordered, we knew we might have to change based off ambulances that pop up. So we were looking at doing small vehicles this year. So we might have to change that a little bit and not do the small vehicles and do the ambulance purchasing, depending on how we go. But we have the money in the capital improvement fund, yes. There's no worry about the funds there for that part.
Approximate cost per ambulances?
The cost per ambulance,
Just approximate.
all said and done, fully equipped and everything, anywhere between 400 to 500,000, depending on if we have to get any new equipment. like monitors or things like that, depending on the time frame they come in.
Now, the difference is these are equipped for ALS, right?
All of them will be equipped for ALS now
Yeah.
compared to
Okay.
in the future, so that way they have the capability of upgrading to ALS.
And you thought
The
the
mattress
price of
standards, so-
housing went up.
Oh, yeah,
No, I
they're-
think they were 150,000
They are.
apiece.
Yeah, the one we're looking at that they can get in a year and a half, I think was around 330 just for the ambulance. And that's not including the striker load system. And that's anywhere from another 40 to 50, 70,000. I'm not sure. Don't quote me because they're coming out with a new model. So the new models, of course, the price raises every time. But the quality of it is also getting better and better and safer. And all of these save our medics their backs lifting tremendously. So we all know how much a back injury costs in workman's comp. So these power load stretchers are lifesavers just in that alone.
Chief, I just
Yeah.
have a quick question.
Yeah.
Is the longevity of ambulances based on mileage strictly, or is it hours in service? How does that work? I mean, as
Um,
far as determining when an ambulance is no longer fit for use,
It's
basically.
normally right around the 100,000 mile mark. Once they start getting close to that, we normally see a trend of they start little things happen too often to justify having them stay in service. That's when it starts. We want to have them replaced by then. So that way those little things don't happen while we're transporting a patient. When it's a personal vehicle, it's not a big deal to start, having small things to repair here and there that go out because the car's down for the day, no big deal. When it comes to the ambulance, it is a big deal. So once it starts coming to those times where all those parts start to kind of the nickel and diamond type parts start kicking in, it comes time to start looking at replacing them. So right around the $180,000 to $100,000 mark is when you want to, which normally happens right around the 5-year mark for a frontline ambulance, if not a little sooner.
Thank you.
Would somebody like to make a motion?
I would move to approve going forward with an RFP for ambulance purchase. You want more detail than that?
A second,
I think that's,
there's memo.
all right, moved and supported. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Ms. Frederick.
Yes,
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right. Thanks, chief. Okay, this next item is a request for me to sign the First Amendment to the land lease agreement between Charter Township of Highland and the new Singular Wireless PCS LLC. The contract includes a lease expansion area for a fixed generator. So as they come on board, they need more backup power. There isn't enough space in the existing footprint. So the contract includes an expansion area for this generator.
I make the motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the First Amendment to the land lease agreement between Charter Township of Highland and New Singular Wireless.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote please.
Mrs. Frederick,
Yes,
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe.
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
Okay, this next item is Heidi Bay, Activity Center Director, wants to consider the following. She wants to move the current part-time coordinator, Sherry Cicaluna, to full-time coordinator at current hourly rate, at her current hourly rate. And also move the current part-time clerical, Mary Jeffrey, to part-time clerical. Floater, I don't know what the difference is there, but this position is not to exceed an average of 24 hours per week per calendar year at her current hourly rate. So it's not an increase in wages with the exception, I guess, Sherry's full-time.
Yeah, but the budget amendment, the net effect is 0.
Yeah,
The, Mary Jeffrey was originally hired as a temporary employee to fill a vacancy that was created by a medical leave.
right.
And now, the medical leave person has not returned, so we're making this an ongoing position as opposed to a temporary position.
All right.
Rick, can I intercede for a sec? Sorry, I know Heidi's not here.
Yeah, what?
Mary's position wouldn't be part-time. It would just be that she would be
Like
basically on
call.
call.
Yes.
She is not currently working.
Correct. And that's why we're calling it a floater for now. That's the only position we have that describes that. At the next meeting, I'll have revisions to all the part-time positions and it will be called on call.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. in
Yep,
case-
floater just means not a regular schedule.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yes, thanks,
Thanks,
Justin.
thanks, Justin. Okay,
I
we
would
want to make a
move-
motion?
I would move to approve the personnel changes for the activity center.
Support.
Okay, moved and supported. Vote please.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick,
Frederick, yes.
Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next item is the budget amendment for the Highland Activity Center.
I would move to approve the budget amendment as presented.
Support.
Moved and supported. Vote please.
One moment. Mr. Salvia,
Salvia, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Mrs. Frederick,
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Hamel.
Hamel, yes.
Motion carries.
We'll look at it.
I'm ready to get.
Okay, so as we've had a few conversations about the Veterans Park and the train station out on the corner of 59 and Milford Road. And that we've discussed how the developer would like to move the train station. So we're in the preparation, we're in stages now where the developer and the schools are moving forward for getting water to the school. And also for allowing for septic for the development on the school property. And that's moving the project forward fairly rapidly. So consequently, we're going to be moving the train station over into Veterans Park. So one of our new DDA board members and also alternate on the ZBA, Mike Ziola, came up with along with Cassie and with an idea for doing something with the wall on the former fire hall, the east wall. And what's happened is the DDA had put forth a proposal to paint the train overpass. And the way things are going, if we don't, our contract with the painter, I think expires sometime in June. And we could stand to lose that opportunity and also some money to go along with it. And it's pretty clear that the railroad's not interested in responding, and MDOT won't respond until the railroad responds, and CSX wash their hands of it because it's leased by Lakes. So long story short, the idea came up, we should paint something on the side, a mural on the side of the fire hall. So Mike, who's here today, I caught him and Cassie out Sunday. Was it Sunday? Saturday. Okay. Can't remember. I was there both days. So Saturday, taking some measurements, and Mike presented an idea that I think is pretty cool. And if you look in your packets, you'll see his thought was the three pictures you see of trains, a train with, in this case, it's World War II soldiers, either returning or coming back on the train, either way. A train station and a water tower. So if you look at that now, please excuse this rather rapid rendition, but if you look at the, see if I can pull it up here. Gotta kill that one up. Hold on. If you look at this rendition here, this might be hard for you guys to really get an image of it, but let me get rid of these guys. So if you're looking at this and you look to the right, which would be your right side from out there, our right side from here, the train station that we're moving is going to be perpendicular to that building. And the thought process is to make it look like a train was leaving from the station, and that there would be, like the tower on the building could be where a water tower for the train would be. And then the other piece on the right-hand side would be like a loading dock or something, but we'll leave this up to the artist to do a much better job, because I did this in about 15 minutes of pulling things together to make it happen. But I think that the concept for rendition here, but the concept looking at it from a very artistic point of view really does a good job of paying homage to the soldiers in Veterans Park. It, I think, really would bring a very strong presence of it being Veterans Park, and it's not going to change names. It's going to stay Veterans Park because that's what it was meant to be. But it also brings in the heritage of the station and the fact that we are Highland Station. Those are all about the train. So we'd kind of like to, not kind of like to, I'd like to get permission to be able to move forward with that concept. And so basically what we're asking the board to do is to allow the DDA to move forward with developing a painted concept, which the board will have approval of. Of course, we're going to have to get some imagery anyways from our artist, and to move forward with doing that. Now it would be done on, I can't remember the name of it. It's a signboard. It's a material that's actually designed to be outdoors, but it would be screwed to the building so it could be removed and could be repaired, that type of thing, and wouldn't do permanent damage to anything that's there. So I'd like to, I guess, make a motion to allow the DDA to move forward with developing a concept drawing and painting and approval to move forward from there. So support. Anybody want to add anything to that? All right.
Question.
Yes,
So is it a DDA project or a park project?
it's a DDA project.
So they're paying for it?
Yeah.
All right.
I think Missy said she'd donate her salary to make this work.
What's
For
that,
Missy.
Joe? I mean,
And then process. So you're bringing something more paperwork back to us at some point.
yeah. The board has to approve the artwork. There's no doubt about that. Do you have, what was that? Sure. What's that? No, no. Yep. Well, I think the township has to approve it before we can even present it to the DDA. I mean, it's kind of one of those. That's why
It
we're doing it
was
this way.
Either way, and we'd have to wait for another meeting for the DDA to come back to the yeah.
All right.
I was surprised too that it came here first. But it's you either wait another month and then it takes it 2 months. And the DDA may not agree. Right. Right.
Well, the process behind it, this is a discussion part of it, is that if we are allowed to paint the road bridge, this isn't going to be something that happens right away. If we can't paint the railroad bridge, then this is a process that allows us to be able to move forward faster and not lose any money on it. Because there's I think we've got probably over $7,000 in the DDA invested in the project that hasn't gone anywhere yet. So we need to make sure we don't lose that. So, all right. So a vote, please.
Mrs. Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Mr. Howe.
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Cooper, yes.
Miss Frederick.
Yes.
Clerk Flowers votes yes. Mr. Salvia,
Oh, yeah, yes.
Mr. Hamel,
Mr. Hamel, yes.
motion carries.
All right. Thank you very much.
Can I say something? So
Yes,
I mean,
you may.
I was late, but I just want to, as I do many times, I want to give a shout out to our supervisor because this weekend I drove by a few times. I think was it Friday? It must have been Friday and Saturdays. I wasn't out Sunday, but the amount of work you were doing over there to get the park ready and get those trees taken care of. And it's hard to see the trees go, but understand why, because we know they're in pretty bad shape, but he was up in the bucket, even though he doesn't really like being up there, he told me, but saving us money once again by doing the project. And that's a big deal. And that's not why he does it. And we had this conversation, but I usually do promote it because I think it's a big deal. People need to know that, you know, it's money we could have obviously bid out and would have cost us a lot of money to take those trees down. So I know Jenny's boy, what is his name? And he was out there helping too, and that's big. So that's really good stuff. So I think Jenny told me he had to, but that's great. So, but
So to give you an idea on that, and Jenny made this clear to me a few days ago. I probably should have come to the board and said, hey, we're going to need to take these trees down. I'd like to get permission to do so. And I had my head in a gear where I saw the weather open up into a position where we could make that happen immediately. And I think a lot of people saw all these trees and they said, oh, well, why are you cutting down perfectly good trees? Well, the truth is, none of them were good trees. the walnut was the only one that was probably physically good, but it drops nuts on people while we're having concerts. It's also right in the middle of where the train station is going to go. And so when I started to look at the analysis of the other trees, the two by the corner, we've been spraying those for 12 years to keep the needle cast down. And there used to be a whole row of them there, and they died. And these were right at that point where we can wait for the top to blow out and land on somebody in the middle of a concert, or we can do a better job. So, and the other part of it is, it's going to require, and it's not going to happen this year, and there will be plans, and Joe will be involved in too, but we want to redo where the flags are, put the flags, make them more prominent out, on the corner, and then have an entire side there, the east side, that would be for the Veterans Memorial, and open up the center lawn area. And then by having the building tie that together with, some artwork on there, I think if you go out there now, it's nice and wide open, and I think it's going to really work out well. If you don't know, I used to be in the tree business, so to cut trees down, that's like yanking my hair out. I mean, I can't. But the other end of it is we couldn't afford to have these things end up falling on somebody. And here's the other part. There was 4 trees that we cut down, big ones. Those would cost $3,000 a piece. So that's $12,000. So far, we probably got less than $1,000 invested in it. So we basically, by doing it ourselves, paid for all the implements that are sitting out there that work on the tractor. So it's kind of one of those things where you leverage the skill sets that we have, and leveraged Jenny's boyfriend's crazy desire to run a chainsaw. He loves it. He loves the smell of gas and sawdust. And so let's go to work. And that's what we did. And so I apologize for not bringing that to the board sooner. I kind of thought when we talked about the train station that there would be I didn't think it through, let's put it that way. So I apologize, but what will transpire from this will be a park that will be like a town square. And that's kind of the thing that we use that park as a town square. And after that Christmas tree lighting we had, it just really amplified this. How can we make that Hallmark movie effect happen in every event that we have there? And the way you can do that is you tie that steeple hall, and you tie that, that's the church on the square, and you got the township hall on the square, and you basically have a town square. And so I think it's really a great idea. I know Mike is very excited about it. I got to keep him slow down, and it's great to see a nice young whippersnapper come in and want to see things happen. And I really appreciate your input on that. And Cassie is wound up and ready to fly. And yes, Judy.
I have a question. So, the tricolor beach is still there?
Oh yeah. You better believe it. I moved that.
The tricolor beach.
And Roscoe's tree. Still.
And there was trees alongside of the old fire hall that were a memorial as well for Bob Gibson. So just
For
one
who?
for Robert Gibson. He was one of the fire halls. It was there was 3 arborvitae, I think.
Oh, well, we might have to replace those.
Okay, just so you know that there's memorial trees there too,
Okay.
and another one going in for Juanita.
Yeah, the new Christmas tree will be in memory of Juanita. So,
Juanita Legree, who was
Yep.
one of our employees.
yep. So I'm glad you told me that those 3 arborvitae were memorials, but
Yep, they were.
they're kind of,
Yep, but
looking
they
weird,
were
but-
memorial trees for Robert Gibson from the fire hall.
do you happen to know anything about who they were for?
Robert Gibson.
Robert Gibson. Okay. We'll put that in the note for it there.
Okay, thank
Put a
you.
plaque on 'em. All right.
Rick? Thank you for addressing my concerns. And are we gonna see a site plan there? Because you have an idea of a town center, but we don't know what it looks like.
Yep. We're working on it, aren't we, Mike?
All right.
So I just want everybody to know that I'm not doing this one solo. Oh, I'm trying to let somebody else have a little
You
bit
might
of
have started.
a shot at it, you know, so we're not gonna do anything more on the park
Cut trees down.
until we get the
And leave it.
train station moved this year, and then it's gonna have to set for this year. I
Maybe
might
one
have to
night
do
stay.
some grading and filling and fixing rather quickly, but we can't take any more projects this year.
So,
I got the town hall to finish, I got the playground to finish, I got park to finish, this to finish, so I don't want to take on any more, so.
Supervisor Hamel, moving forward, do you agree, though, that if it's a township park, that the board has the right to help decide how it's shaped?
No.
Okay.
I'm being
Well,
honest.
the board does have a right to see how it's shaped.
Okay, oh, excuse
Just
me,
saying.
Cooper. Hey,
Just to
you're quitting.
clarify.
No, I'm just kidding. Of course, but yes, I am. You, of course have a right to it, but the first thing you have to do is you have to see what the concept is. I mean, if you guys all want to sit down and go through the whole process of planning, I'll step out and you can plan it. But if you want to, no, I'm just saying that, you know, it doesn't start from the whole board trying to design something that somebody comes in with a design like this building. And then you look at it and go, is that what we want? Or is there things you could change and make different? And Mike hopped forward with a few things. He picked up this same software that I've been using for the town hall and for everything else and already had done some, you know, blocking in and stuff. You could do this, could do that, and making suggestions. And he's realizes that there's other avenues. So until we get the train station there and really get the dimensional feel of it, then you can design from that part out so that we get the right elements in. So
And you don't really know when the train station's coming, but you think it'll be in 25?
no,
Oh, 24?
yeah, it's going to be like this spring because they want to get cracking on their development. So we have to get that moved or it has to be moved. So we're also in the process of trying to figure out how that's going to come about. So, and Beth is working with us on that too. So,
Thank you.
all right. That's it for tonight's show. And on that note, meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.